Move on to our next speaker, Kai. I'm really excited to hear from as well. So Kai has worked with quite a few different community groups as well. He's always out with different community events and helping out where he can. And it's just a real inspiration. And there's a deep kind of desire to share knowledge and inspire other people. And he told me he wanted to show how it's easy to get involved with. And yeah, when you are passionate about something, you want to make a difference, it's brilliant to share knowledge. It's a great action to take. So yeah, can I pass over to Kai, who's going to speak about riverfly monitoring. Are you there, Kai?
Yes. Hello.
Yeah. Amazing.
Hi everyone. So yeah, I'm Kai. I'm based in BS9 and was a wildlife champion with Avon Wildlife Trust last year. And I also became a riverfly monitor with Bart as well. And I'm lucky enough to live by not one but two rivers. So I live right by the River Trim and also the River Avon. And I live right by where they meet. So it's a really cool place to be, actually. And it's somewhere I spend like all of my free time. I love going walks down there. My camera roll is just filled of pictures of the area, the wildlife, all the birds, the insects, everything. And it's a real place of like sanctuary and kind of like peace for me. And so I feel like passionate to want to help preserve it for other people as well, which is why riverfly monitoring was the perfect way for me to get involved, basically, to do that. So for anyone that doesn't know what riverfly monitoring is, or it basically involves taking regular samples from a particular area of the river and counting all the species found. So to do a riverfly sample, you would start by filling up like a bucket of water, big bucket, and empty that into a tray, ready to put all your samples in later on. And then you want to sort of look at the river and assess like different habitats in that particular area. So if there's some fast flowing water or slower flowing water, a more rocky area or like more weeds, you kind of you're going to take 3 samples essentially. So you want to take one from each bit to give more variety, I guess. And sorry, I've written a few things down. So to take the sample, you want to work in pairs at least, so because it's just easier. So you'd have one person timing you for a minute, and then the other person would get in the river, and you would have a net, and you put the net on the very base of the riverbed, and you kick with your heel upstream of the net, so that anything flowing down will go into the net, basically, like that you've disturbed. And then once you've done that for a minute, you empty the net into the tray and repeat that 2 more times. And that's your 3 samples. And then you can also from then do a minute of kind of like manually looking around for any like larger rocks in the river that you can like upturn and sweep the invertebrates like directly into the net that way as well. And then they can also be added to your sample. So then it's time to identify and count the sample. So there's 8 target groups that you're essentially looking for, which are the cased caddis, which I think are super cool with the way that they build their little homes. The caseless caddis, you've got the upwinged flies, so the mayfly, the blue-winged olives, your standard olives, flat-bodied flies, and stoneflies, as well as gammarus, which are extremely abundant in the river. If you don't see any gammarus, then that is a big problem just straight away, basically. But it's also probably worth mentioning that you're not expected to find all 8 groups in one sample session, because I mean you could, and that would be amazing, but it's not expected. It's more about the numbers of each one that you do find. So once you've got a rough estimate for each of those numbers and species that you've seen, they can be converted to give you a score. So each individual riverfly site is given a trigger level score. So for my site on the Trim, it is 4, which means that any score sample score that is below that, so 3 or below, would signify that there's like a big problem, like maybe pollution or something. So then you would want to repeat the sample to make sure it wasn't just like a human error or an outlier. And also just have a look for any obvious signs that there's an issue, like, you know, dead insects or fish, smell, you know, obvious things. And if the problem persists, then I would contact BART and they would get in contact with the Environment Agency if it was worth doing so, who could then come and like investigate. So it's a really great way to keep a tabs on the river health, and also contribute to like citizen science, because you upload all the data onto a website called Cartographer, and that's basically collects everyone's riverfly samples, and essentially you're just creating like a huge map of the river health, like around, you know, so that's like amazing on a much bigger scale. So in terms of getting involved, I just signed up through BART's website, and I got on the volunteer waiting list because I think there is a wait list because it is that good. And I just had to do a short like online test after reading some things to make sure I knew what I was getting myself into. And then I attended an in-person volunteer training day. And on that day, literally, we got to go in, do like a whole practice run of everything. I was given all the equipment I needed, and signed off, basically ready to go. So it was simple, and it was really, really good fun. And the samples only need to be done like either monthly or bi-monthly, which have found really, really helpful, because with my shift work job, I find it really hard to commit to like weekly regular volunteering days. So I think this is a more flexible option for people that still want to get involved and do stuff, but maybe have struggle committing like I do. And I've never had the site drop below the trigger level yet, so that's great. And we do tend to get quite good samples. We've seen bullhead fish and an elver, which I was really excited about because that's amazing. I never knew that that was something that was in that river, so that was great, and great as well from an environmental point of view. And also another thing that's cool is that because you're like working directly in the river, a lot of people kind of stop and ask you what you're doing, which I think is a great way to open up a conversation about river health and potentially recruit more volunteers. So that's always good. And on that note, I have to do another sample quite soon. So I was going to say, if anyone is interested in coming along to that, wants to find out a bit more, just get involved, I'd be more than happy to do that with people. Maybe I can leave like an email somewhere or put links. I don't know technology, but yeah, there'll be a way. And yeah, thank you so much for listening.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Kai. It's really inspirational, and it just shows how, yeah, you've shown how easy it can be and how much of a difference that riverfly monitoring can make as well. Like you said, it's those key indicators. So it could be for short-term and long-term issues in the river. And I will ask where you send the data to. Actually, I'll add that to your case study, because that's a really important thing, to make sure that this data is making a difference, and that it's providing evidence, and it's building a case, a baseline, and it's showing what the health of the rivers is like now. So yeah, it's a really important thing to do. Thanks so much for sharing your enthusiasm and your knowledge. Really appreciate it, Kai, and the offer as well. That's great.